Baby Bears Book Club. Hey guys, welcome back to Baby Bears Book Club. It's the season of Halloween and I have the perfect book. It's called The Pumpkin Deal, a Win-Win Halloween by Alan Venable, illustrated by Lena Venable. In an end of October sunset they swarmed, down from the sky on their rakes and brooms. Of course, you know what nightfall I mean, the dreaded eve called Halloween. Witches and wizards, the boss wizard yelled, what nasty tricks shall we play tonight to fill our evil hearts with gladness by driving other poor creatures to madness? Oh, this was a squabbling posse of loonies who nattered and nagged at a deafening pitch and haggled and argued, insulted and taunted, so most often none of them got what they wanted. I know, said one of the quarrelsome gang. Let's boil a cauldron of chokeberry juice. We'll drop in some stink bugs and call it a stew, and force salamanders to swallow the brew. No, no, said another. Let's do even worse. Let's mire the spiders in buckets of honey, hold cheese out of reach of ravenous rats, and sweep the air briskly to frenzy the bats. No, 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 said a third one. I say we get meaner. We'll tie up the ghosts in their own white sheets, we'll twist them together and leave them to dangle all night from a tree in a terrible tangle. Enough, said the boss. Now listen to me. We'll go out and capture a bushel of lizards and fill their slithery heads with such scares they'll toss all night with reptilian nightmares. Have it your own way, the rest of them grumbled. They always gave in when the big boss took over. At quarrels, the old goat was always the roughest. When wizards got tough, he was always the toughest. Then an eighth witch started chirping among them, to whom none of them wanted to listen. She just woke up from a nap in the thicket. Her chirp was the reason they called her Cricket. Good evening, sisters and brothers, she said. Regarding the madness we're making tonight, may I remind you what all of us crave when Halloween skeletons rise from their grave? Did you all forget that we like to do first? We like to carve pumpkins with terrible faces, with candles inside them that cast a weird glow to light up the rest of our terrible show. Fie! Cried the others, as witches must say, but then fell silent till one of them murmured, or jack-o'-lanterns! How did we forget? How we always brighten our Halloween fete. And before the boss could command them to stop, the other 6 maniacs screamed with delight, and flew in a fleet to the neighboring village to burgle 8 pumpkins by trickery or pillage. But the market was closed at that darkening hour, and not even one pumpkin was left in the stalls, just old squishy carrots and other such clutter as villagers normally throw in the gutter. At once the boss wizard planted his claws in an ancient, beat-up, yellowing cabbage, too moldy and rotten to make sauerkraut. This is mine, he announced, and paraded it out. Finders keepers, cried out another, a nasty old eggplant squished in his grasp. With that, the rest of them started to fight over the rest of the garbage in sight. I mean all except Cricket, who landed last. No pumpkins at all? Asked she. And nothing for you, they replied, which is fair. Since you arrived last, you may not get a share. Well, how about this? She said, after some thinking. Since the market is all out of pumpkins, let's fly out to the fields on the chance we might find that some farmers left some of their pumpkins behind. And before the boss wizard could open his mouth, the others threw down what they had and sped off cackling into the night until harvested land came in sight. Look, there they are. The mob swooped down on 7 last pumpkins below, by the side of the fence and mostly concealed except one that the moonlight revealed. Boss Wizard landed at once on the biggest. The other 6 followed his lead, pouncing on smaller ones for their own until all of the pumpkins were gone. But when they tried to pick up these treasures and carried their booty away, they discovered each one was tied down by a tether of vine as tough as dinosaur leather. I see, there are only 7, said Cricket, searching the shadows for one for herself. It's true, I'm always showing up late. However, the fact is, we do need 8. Well, none of them paid her any attention. They got down on elbows and knees. They gripped their vines with bony thumbs and nibbled madly with rubbery gums. Then a sibilant whisper came out from the shadows. Stop! The voice seemed to whistle. The boss raised his head and demanded, now who dares to tell us what to do? Propped up all alone by a stick-woven fence, an odd-looking figure they saw, in a hay-stuffed shirt and an old straw hat. A scarecrow? Well, who needs to listen to that? Look, Cricky, said one of the sisters. See what's hiding under the scarecrow's hat? Another pumpkin, and what a fat one! Why don't you take that one? Poor Witch Cricket, she wanted a pumpkin as much as the others, and yet she didn't see how it could ever be right to make off with somebody's head in the night. You guys all keep chewing, the boss commanded. No scarecrow is going to stop us. If he raises a finger, we'll lay on a curse that will turn him into a cockroach or worse. Just try, hissed the scarecrow. See what you'll get. I'll summon the barnyard hounds with a whistle. They'll dash out here and tear you to shreds before those pumpkins are loosed from their beds. This was not welcome news to these dithering witches, for, as much as they doted on felines, of canines they harbored a terrible fear, and shivered whenever a dog came near. Very well, we won't steal them, the boss relented. We will offer to buy all instead. They can't be worth much. I'd say that a few of our bent rusty pennies will do. All my pumpkins you want? That's a terrible offer, the scarecrow responded with passion. And don't for a moment believe that I'm bluffing. We scarecrows may have more inside us than stuffing. Meanwhile, Cricket was trying to listen to all that the Scarecrow was saying. Who knew what interest might be lurking in his head, beside these things that he's already said? Excuse me, Scarecrow, she said to him sweetly. Is there more you might want to pass on? When you talk, what I mostly hear is a squeak. Is your mouth too little for you to speak? Yes, it is. The Scarecrow whistled back. That's all the farmers could find time to cut me. My poor owners are always so busy these years. They cut me just pinholes for eyes, mouth, and ears. Perhaps I could fix that, Cricket suggested. Is there some help you think I might be? Also, I'm wondering, or have I forgot, why 7 pumpkins cannot be bought? Oh, I could sell 7, the Scarecrow replied, as long as my head stays behind. Surely, with your ears, you just heard me say that all is the number I can't give away. I heard that, the boss wizard said to his mates. The Scarecrow says we can take 7. We just need to leave the 8th one behind. I don't think Cricket possibly mind. But I would mind, Cricket protested at once. However, perhaps we must settle for 7. I can understand why, from what he has said, he would not offer to sell his own head. I don't think you understand at all, said the Scarecrow. It isn't that simple. Because if you did take it, please do explain how next year the farmers could carve me again. I realize my face is not much to look at, and in 2 weeks my pulp will be mushy. But if I can hold on to what I hold dear, my farmer can carve me a new one next year. How I wish you could see inside my head. See how full it is of a treasure that makes a farmer burst into a chair in spring when warm days for sowing are here. At that moment, however, the strokes of midnight tolled out from the steeple in town. Fie! Cried the 7. That means we must scoot. And they tore up their vines by the root. They flung some coins at the Scarecrow's feet and took off the pumpkins a-flying, home to the thicket to duck out of sight and party the rest of the night. Meanwhile, Witch Cricket's brain was brimming with all that the Scarecrow had said. With her own and Scarecrow's interest to guide her, a new possibility sprouted inside her. Slowly, with well-chosen words, she described a new offer her brain had just hatched. A deal? She asked. It's a deal, he said, and to Cricket he handed his head. By the time Witch Cricket got back to the party, the chokeberry punch had been boiled, the stink bugs were swimming around in the stew, and some poor salamanders had tasted it too. Then they all carved lanterns with candles inside to light up the rest of their games. They honeyed the spiders and frenzied the bats, hung up smelly cheeses to torment the rats. For more fun, they tied all the ghosts up in knots and bombarded the lizards with stories that left the reptiles laughing in stitches and turned into nightmares for 7 scared witches. An hour before daybreak, the madness was over, with no other sound than the snoring. The fire was ash, the sky was dawning. It's time we must go, said Cricket, yawning. She gathered up her new companion, flew over the mirroring moon at just the right angle so Scarecrow could see his new face and say to himself, "That's me!" Back by the dew-covered fence at last, she set his head back on his collar, as he, after being awake the whole night, fell asleep in a new autumn light. And here's what I promised. Here is the sack. It's all that your farmer will need in the spring when the days turn warm to sow you again with this corn. So that, my friends, was the pumpkin deal. I'll hope you'll discover its meaning. So long, chirped Cricket. Till next year, friend, when Halloween flies round again. The end. If you enjoyed that video, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. See you soon!